Hi, this is Alexcursus, a show where I take a look at some Gunpla and see how authentic they are. This time we are looking at the Core Gundam, Core Gundam 2 and Alus Core Gundam low visibility version. For those who have watched my previous video, you know I have built them already. And I need to make a separate video for the comparison between the different Core Gundams is because this is quite a box set. I like my filming space is cluttered with everything that is usable in the box set, not including random spare parts that you can find uses somewhere else. And so it is hard to talk about this box set without making comparisons between the Core Gundams, but if I talk about the box set during the comparison of the Core Gundams, the video will be very bloated. I mean, some of you might be here for that, but I digress. I will rate this as usual with Saga, Style, Action, Gimmick, and Absent. Style, as the box set suggests, these are the low visibility versions of the Core Gundams. So Core Gundam and Core Gundam 2 have black as their primary color with a bit of gray. Now the translucent parts are not very low vis on Core Gundam 2, but it looks good, so we'll get past that. Core Gundam looks very fine with its red along with its low vis look. You will notice I did something to Core Gundam here, but we will save that for Gimmick. I just do this beforehand to save you the trouble or eyesore of me assembling core armor onto a Core Gundam for the nth time. And myself, mostly saving myself from doing it in front of the camera. But yeah, otherwise same sculpt as other Core Gundams, and let's put down Core Gundam here. I do replace the wings on Core Gundam 2 shield with the one flying in Plutine Gundam, because the gray looks frankly very boring, like overall, with too much gray, almost the same tone as well. And with all the very bright green around Core Gundam 2, a bit of a teal, no more high vis than the translucent parts or the green lenses. So I'm glad I built Plutine Gundam first, so I get a spare set of wings to put on this low vis version of Core Gundam 2. Now, Alus Core Gundam isn't very low vis, to be honest. Its original color scheme is gray, dark gray pretty much. And instead of going to, just full black, Bandai decided to make it white. I guess it is a low visibility versions on, moons and asteroids, where the barren landscapes are mostly, white and gray rocks. Given the environment Alus is in, this could be his idea of low visibility. I do like this color though, but it also shows how the original Alus Core Gundam's design really relies on it being dark gray, especially on the head. I opt to use the stickers for the eye not because it will look good, but because it will contrast with the flat color of the rest of the head. I guess style is also where I talk about part separations, and to be honest, most of Alus Core Gundam's part separation is great. A lot of the simple clamshells have embossed lines to hide or emboss, making them like less of an eyesore of a gap, which does look nice for the most part, even in white. But for the head, Bandai's decision of making it a single sculpt, so the whole front of the head is one sculpt, and then the back of the head, and then you got the clear dome, really hurts Alus Core Gundam's look in the long run. Not that you can't do some fancy sticker or painting work to make it look better, but I mean, in the anime, these side cheeks where I put stickers on, they are supposed to be part of the dome. So if Bandai, instead of having a internal sculpt inside the head, they went with the negative sculpt they did on GM on this dome, and then have this face antenna or face mask attached to the dome, and all you have to do is do some metallic paint on the back, pretty much like, you know, the GM. It would look fantastic. As for now, it's not too bad. You can definitely paint it in a way that it would look good, providing you have enough light. But otherwise, it is very odd. That is, of course, no less odd than the head for the Alus Earthree Gundam, which is missing its antenna, so you don't really get the full head, you only get partial of it. And because it is a unique type of antenna, you can't steal it from other Core Gundams as well. Same goes for the shoulder pads. It makes sense for Bandai to build it like that and incorporated it into the Alus armor sprue. Not too terrible for this box set. I think, you know, for people who don't paint or don't do too much painting, including these parts do help people do color swaps relatively easily. But their inclusion in this box set also highlight how excessively crowded the Alus Core Gundam sprue is. I do think Bandai can skip out on this head and this shoulder pads if we have a better design for Alus Core Gundam's head. In fact, I used to hate this head when I saw it in the anime, and hate how this is a sticker fest for the model kit. But I feel like Bandai missed the opportunity again if they decided not to pursue with that Alus Earthree's head that preserved the mono eye, but go with this instead. Basically, whenever Alus take a form of the Core Gundam's armor, it would have this expressionless face, and we can probably get a clear path for the alternative. I probably should save it for a Alus Earthree Gundam video, but while I like that armor, I do feel that armor is not very Earthree. It would actually be cooler in kit and in anime that Alus, you know, came out with the exact same Earthree armor, but with, you know, his own head, his own Core Gundam, and his own rifle. Anyways, you only get one set of hand armor for Alus Core Gundam because there's only one sprue, but I think the flat hands looks fine without them. Alus is supposed to be alien anyways. There is also stickers supposed to be used on the beam saber hand, but again, the whole beam saber glows, so it's okay that the whole arm glows with it since it generates beam saber. Back to Core Gundam for a bit. I am not sure why Bandai included the whole Gen 1 or Core 1 type of planetary armor sprue in translucent colors. Now, Core Gundam does need some parts from the planetary armor, the first version, to complete. That's why the different color of Core Gundam come with the V2 armor and Mass 4 armor. It is only the Macron one that does not have a Core Gundam attached to it for some reason, but we'll save those for their own video. So it is kind of odd to me that Bandai does not have all the parts in this box set, for one generic planetary armor, if that makes sense. It is going most of the way. We have the shin armor. We actually have parts for the side, the calf armor, and we also get the ankle joint for the foot. We are just missing the lower leg connector to the ankle joint and the bottom of the foot. Yeah, we also get top of the foot as well in clear colors. And yeah, the shoulder is almost complete. Front arms is complete. Skirts all there. Chest armor also complete. So it seems a bit odd to me that Bandai decided to use the sprue that's just missing a few key elements. I don't think giving us the Earthree version of the planetary armor sprue would cost them too much. I mean, the box for this box set is larger than the G-Armor box set, for perspective. So it's a pretty freaking huge box set. So, questionable decision. But since their goal is to provide us with free version of the Core Gundam, I wouldn't hold them against it too much. So yes, style-wise, I think they did what they set out to achieve, providing a low visibility type of Core Gundams. I have some suspicion as to why they make it flat black for Core Gundam and Core Gundam 2, and in this ash white that I do like for Alus Core Gundam, but we'll save that for absence, I think. Actually, before we are done, let's take a look at the sticker sheets. I use most of them because they looks pretty good. I didn't use the red eyes for Core Gundam because the metallic red looks right, whereas the metallic green, the feel that I have, does not match with the lenses, so I use the stickers instead. I didn't bother with the Alus Earthree Gundam head stickers because frankly it would not be complete either way. And like I said, I'm not using the sticker for the beam saber hand for Alus Core Gundam because frankly that looks good without them. Next is action. Action isn't just the number of articulations, but also how useful those articulations are. Given how all of these three Core Gundams basically have the same system of joints, I will just use Core Gundam here. To demonstrate. Mostly because it also have the planetary armor, so it could provide a bit more information as to how the Core Gundams interact with the planetary armor. Head is the forever HG neck joint. You can see it this time. It does have sculpts, and because it is gray, it saves you from painting. Because they are polycap, it's hard to paint them. Give Core Gundam a lot of range looking up and down, side to side. Through the clear armor you can see the polycap inside, and because there is a sliding mechanism to fit the armor on, you do get a bit more movement than just the ball joint and the polycap. As you can see here, I can push it in for more tight or pull it out for a bit more extensions. Without the armor, it would allow you to flip the arm higher, but it's okay. The ball joint goes 360 anyways. And the shoulder joint, and then the swivel on the shoulder goes up to about 80 degrees. With a bit of the help from the ball joint, easily reach up to 90. Double jointed elbow, blocked by the armor from going all 180, but that is a lot of range nonetheless. And thanks to the attachment of the planetary armor to the original Core Gundam's forearm, you do have a bit of play. There is a bit of play and you can flip it 90 degrees, but it is not as stable as it is designed to be. Still, that is options. Skirts, again, the standard double ball for the skirts are modified so that you got independent movement. No side skirts, but the shape of the thigh limited to 60 degrees on the side, but that's plenty wide enough for most cases. We don't have the rest of the leg armor here, but Core Gundam's foot, the original Core Gundam's foot, would be touching his ass or kicking his own ass anyways, so you can't really use the extended planetary armor foot to kick Core Gundam's own ass. Still, that is plenty of movement. Back skirt is just a single piece, nothing can be done, and then the beam sabers can be flipped up and down. You're supposed to keep them down in base Core Gundam mode, but it's a Gundam. The beam sabers are going up. Single thruster, can't move, that's it. And yeah, the same action applies to all 3 Core Gundams. Except Alus Core Gundam have these claws for toes that can move, but they don't help with stability, so I will just keep them spray out. For the sake of fair comparisons, I will just use Alus Core Gundam here to demonstrate how it may or may not be good in action, or the Core Gundams may be good or not good in action with a bit of Kung Fu posting. Okay. Here we go. But yeah, Alus can do it, probably because of the claw feet, but Alus also have, wider limbs, longer limbs, and, less human accurate autonomy, so if he can do it, the others should be fine. Either way, it's a modern kid, top-notch action, no question about that. Next is Gimmick. Gimmick is usually the onboard weapons or optional weapons or other functionality of the mobile suit. In case of this box set, you got everything that everyone ought to have. Everyone get a beam spray gun and with their matching lens color sticker. This is a shield for Core Gundam. For Core Gundam 2, of course, it is a booster shield that allows it to turn into MA mode, and the core spray gun. Again, matching lens stickers. For Alus Core Gundam, it will be its beam rifle, and you can see from the carry handle and the grip that it is the same core spray gun, just have attachment on top of it. And Alus Core Gundam can hold on to it, no problem. It can even do the charge firing pose as well, just like the normal version, pretty much. While we are at it, let's arm Alus with the beam saber effects for his hand. So yeah, while the beam saber hand or effect might look super long compared to Alus itself, it is wielding the extra large beam rifle anyways. These weapons are supposed to work along with the Alus Earthree armor or any planetary armor for that matters, so they ought to be a bit oversized. But I do like to think that Alus Core Gundam is that powerful. It just needs the extra planetary armor for extra functionalities, not necessarily for the offensive capabilities. Speaking of beam sabers, they give you beam sabers for both Core Gundam and Core Gundam's beam saber hilt. They didn't designate which goes to which, especially the orange one. They don't associate with any really. The motifs the Core Gundam is going off with, so that is a bit puzzling, but you can assign them to whoever you wanted to. You also get both versions of core hangers for Core Gundam and Core Gundam 2 and Alus Core Gundam. You only get one hanger for the two Core Gundams, but I guess they are both Hirotors, at least in this context, so it's okay to have just one. I think it is interesting to have Alus Core Hanger be like a Saint Sandcloth display. I mean, the Sandcloths are usually in their celestial sign style, but they also kind of have this human armor mold as well. So it is interesting to see that for Alus. So yeah, gimmick-wise, Alus Core Gundam got its range and melee weapons, so as Core Gundam and Core Gundam 2. Core Gundam 2 can transform into the Core Flyer, as usual. Yeah, it's simple enough that I just did it anyways. Yeah, I feel like the Core Flyer is a pretty good MA form, even though it's really just, even if it's just Core Gundam 2 lying down. Okay, I'm supposed to turn the head around. For transformations go, this is not that bad, especially when it is pretty convincing so long you're not looking at the bottom. Gimmick-wise, I can't fault this kit. I was fully expected not to have the beam rifle for Alus Gundam. I was fully expected not to have any planetary armor for Core Gundam. Oh, and the you also get the sort of Gen 1 Phase 1 planetary armor backpack for Core Gundam, and you also get the universal backpack adapter for Core Gundam. So if you have a backpack from other series that use the double peg, or a strike backpack that use the single peg, you can just put this in on the slot at the back of Core Gundam. This is when you want the backpack to be higher up, or the other way around if you want the backpack to be lower down. Alternatively, you can use the planetary armor backpack to attach other boosters and weapons, backpack weapons, for your Core Gundam. And yeah, this peg system is pretty stable. Last and not least is absence. Absence is what the kit fails to deliver. And for this collection of 3 Core Gundams, I would say nothing is amiss, if not a bit more is being provided. Like I said, the Alus beam rifle, the extra clear version of the Phase 1 planetary armor, and the alternative color beam saber blades. The core armor hanger is welcome overall. I think it is better to have them than not. Bandai doesn't really, jack the price up for their existence, nor do they actually hurt the design of the sprue, so to speak. Like I said, in style, I do think there are some problems when designing Alus Gundam sprue. But it is still Bandai still do a good job for making a whole sprue for Alus Gundam to give you a different head, different torso, different basically arms and leg armor. While all the joints, the knee joint, thigh joint, elbow joint, and shoulder joints are the same as Core Gundam. That give you the core spray gun. It is amazing that Bandai managed to do all of that for Alus Gundam in a single sprue, when the original Core Gundam have to spread its parts along with the planetary armors. Core Gundam 2 is pretty much at the same boat, except that it have to surface this MA mode at the same time. I guess it is a complement for both of these Core Gundam alternative forms, but I do feel like the Alus Core Gundam is a lot more different visually compared to Core Gundam 2, and Core Gundam 2 don't exactly handle it in a single sprue so much, because the fine joints and the attachment point for the shield come with the core hanger. Yeah, whereas yes, Alus Core Gundam's forearms joints do come with its own core hanger, but this is the extra forearm piece, whereas Core Gundam 2 does not have an extra forearm piece. I think Bandai can easily shuffle that piece in the Alus sprue as well if they're willing, but they don't need to because they were designing this whole thing with the Alus Core 3 Gundam. Either way, you get all 3 Core Gundams in this box set. Not that the extra parts you get here is not expected in other Core Gundams, but it is cool to see in this kind of box set you got most of what you also get in other Core Gundams. And the transparent Phase 1 planetary armor is definitely a pleasant surprise. Interestingly, on the box, they tease you with a array of different planetary armor. I guess it's good for commercial purposes. They also point to you what kits these parts are coming from. But I do feel like Bandai is missing an opportunity, not including a bit more of Phase 1 Core Gundam armor parts that they already have most, and a bit more of the Alus Earthree Gundam armor, so that you can build a hybrid of them out of the box in one of these 3. Another part of absence is where I lay down some of my wild theories. I suspect this kit was supposed to be Ecopla because of the black they use here for Core Gundam and Core Gundam 2. They look suspiciously like those they use for Plutine Gundam's planetary armor. I can understand why they don't use Ecopla for the Core Gundam and Core Gundam 2's own armor pieces, because they have multiple color running in those sprues. Making them into Ecopla would kill the color variations, whereas for the planetary armor themselves, they are in a single color for the most part, so putting them in Ecopla like Plutine Gundam is rather natural. This isn't the first special box set of Core Gundams that Bandai do, and the other box set also have a sign of that. But what about Alus Core Gundam, you ask? It is white. There isn't any white Ecopla, except there is. It's called Lumax, the thing that Bandai uses for their dinosaur and Godzilla line, where it includes the minerals that make up of plaster, but also other kinds of recyclable, environmental friendly, endothermic, most importantly, natural chemicals to make the plastic recycling process, or at least the burning of such plastic, a lot more environmental friendly. I do feel the white color was designed to use the max, but they probably switch out once again because running that material along with other plastic probably doesn't fly as well as Bandai wanted it to. Either way, I think switching that plan to Plutine Gundam was a smart choice. Plutine Gundam also shares this dark black and the ash white, which are some of my favorite colors that Bandai uses. So to recap, style-wise, the Core Gundam 2, and Alus Core Gundam low visibility version, it's obviously not accurate to their anime counterparts because they never appeared in their anime or manga, maybe in future games, but because they're coming off the same mold, and the color choices make sense even for Alus Core Gundam, who usually operates in asteroids, moons, or other celestial objects where the white actually blends in quite well. It is rather unfortunate that Alus Gundam's own design left a bit to be desired, especially when it comes to the clear parts. And the color for Core Gundam 2's wing is frankly boring. So I will keep it an A because Bandai at this point and for these kids, they have their ability to elevate the idea a lot more. But they didn't. But it is also competently put together, so it is definitely an A for style. Action, same as other Core Gundams, excellent modern actions, and even with the planetary armor being a secondary attachment, they are rock solid. And the articulations are not inhibited by them. Not enough to be upset. And as I have demonstrated, they can do the pose. So it's easy as for action. Gimmick, while the transparent phase 1 planetary armor is not being advertised, their inclusion definitely give extra points. Core Gundam 2 being able to transform into MA mode as usual, and you can be convinced that it is some sort of stealth fighter to an extent with different set of colors. Alus just as fabulous as always with his extra large beam rifle and fancy hand beam saber, and all of this is still compatible with each other. It is definitely an S. Like, I'm sorry I'm not doing live part swaps. You can literally swap parts of these guys to each other to create your own version of Core Gundam. That is excellent, and still works with other planetary armor, so as well as other builder 3mm systems that Bandai is pushing out now. That is definitely an S for Gimmick as well. But for absence, this is a Gundam Base Limited set. Now, it doesn't sound as limited as it is, as Bandai do bring this out to different events or pop-up stores or other fairs, that kind of thing. It's just that you don't, you can't really grab them off the shelf, so to speak. Now, despite being a Gundam Base Limited and such a big box, it's actually cheap to an extent. Only 3,300 yen before tax. For the records, a Core Gundam 2 on its own is 1,100 yen. So it is, buying free normal Core Gundam 2, but you get Core Gundam 1 and Alus Core Gundam. Now you can argue, especially for Core Gundam 1, it is not, or rather for Core Gundam 1, you probably get a better deal buying the V2 or Ma 4 version. But for Alus Gundam, you can only really get it in the Alus Earthree Gundam set. And again, I feel like Bandai is doing themselves a disservice to not have independent on its own Alus Gundam sets, outside of that. Still, I don't think what you get for the other two Core Gundams is less than what you get for Core Gundam 2. So as a type of a souvenir for yourself or everyone else, you can't argue with the price. The only problem is it is such a big box. If you are getting it while you're flying to the set Gundam base, it could be a problem. But, otherwise, or, you have been prepared, for that one pilgrimage. So yeah, for absence, while this is rather limiting, and I wish Bandai would release a version of this that is not Gundam Base Limited. Maybe all in real combat colors or neon colors, or even, Ecopla, although Ecopla is somewhat limited, pretty much like these guys as well. I think Bandai can pump more of this box set out. I don't think it's necessary for them to do what I wish they did, because from coming out of this, you still got plenty of variations. So, the verdict for the Gundam Base Limited Core Gundam 2, and Alus Core Gundam low visibility set is A for style, S for action, S for gimmick, and B for absence. Overall, I think these kinds of box sets are the perfect version of Gundam Base Limited. They are not something that you cannot get for general release or P-Bandai, but it is special enough that when you visit a Gundam base or Gundam events, again, great souvenir. Nor it is Bandai tiptoeing about fixing some of their bigger mistakes. And this kit is simple enough that, in one of those Gundam base or Gundam events where they do help you to build your kits, you can opt in to build any one of the Core Gundams. If time is available, every other thing applies. It is special enough to be given as a gift, but not so unique that you really need to fight, teeth and nails over it. And by the way, since I started swapping Core Gundam parts, I'm probably going to do it for the future Core Gundam planetary armor videos. Obviously, I will disclose them as, I present them. But yeah, these guys are not like the scope dogs, which is new enough that you can do that kind of operation post-assembly. So advance apology for showing you Core Gundam planetary armor in a more customized form. Thanks for watching. See you next time.